Hello everyone, welcome back. This is session 6 of Java Object Oriented Programming. Let's start. Let me share my screen. All right, so this is the problem statement for today. We want to implement observer pattern, and this is a scenario. Our library wants to keep users informed about the availability of specific book they're interested in. So users should be able to register interest in an item, and whenever the item is available, right? All interested users should be notified. So first of all, a little brief about observer pattern. Um, it's essentially the way it works is there is a subject and there are a bunch of observers. It's one to many mapping, single subject, multiple observers, and it allows the subject to notify or call methods on all the observer to notify them about any change. So here in our example, the library wants to notify all the interested users about the change, which is that a book is available. So I mean they can borrow it, right? This is like the general idea, and these are the requirements. First of all, we have to define the observer structure. So create an observer interface method, create a user class that implements the observer interface, able to receive and display notification. So this is essentially our observer, right? There is a subject, there is an observer. So this is the observer, which is essentially implemented by the user class. So they can observe change on the subject, which is the library item. Second is subject management in items. So items become the subject. So for each book is a library item. We want to create a subject on that, right? Which can notify all the observers. So modify library item or its decorator manager to maintain a list of observers interested in the items, allow users to register as observer for an item, and allows users to unregister if they lose interest. So that's the general setup. Then we'll talk about notification triggering and all of it. Let's go step by step. So first of all, let me define an observer interface. Let me folks fix this. Let's go here. All right. It's an interface. Let's say book observer, right? That's our interface. Let's keep it that way. And then we'll have a user class which implements the book observer interface. So let me create the class quickly. Um, User class. And this user class implements book observer, right? Um, the method we need on book observer is the update method, right? So this can be public void update, and we can pass it library item, or we can just pass it the message according to the requirement, right? We can also see how we want to update it, but yeah, let's keep it this way. And then user will have to implement the update method. So the way we do that is we have an override, and this is the update, and I'm just gonna print that message for now. Let's go back, create a user class that implements interface able to receive and display notification. Yeah, which is fine. So update only changes the takes the message. Now subject management in the item. So to maintain a list of observer interested, allow the users to register as observer for an item. So we need register observer function. Correct. Let's go back. This is a concrete library item which extends library item. And if I go to library item, it implements borrowable. So essentially the last concrete object that we will have to add that method to the object. So if I go to my main method and see how we are creating books, this is the ebook we are creating, and then we are adding decorators to on top of it, and so on. There is a borrow item function. So probably we can add it to our library item itself, because it's gonna be a common thing for all the library items, whether it's an ebook or a printed book. Actually, it's not. It's gonna be only for printed, right? Ebooks are generally available. There are infinite copies of ebook. So let's see how we can do it. Um, Probably we can say it extends library item and implements subject, right? But then printed book won't be a library item, right? It will be a combination of library item and something that implements subject interface. So that's not gonna work for us. Let's see if there is any other hint in the problem statement. Create at least two users registered both to observe a book, simulate borrowing and return the monitor and show both users being notified. Okay. Decouple the notification from your and so item state changes are broadcast without hard coding user awareness into book or manager logic. Yeah, let's take the interface class outline. Please provide interface class outline, so we understand like what the structure it's asking for. So we have observer, which we already implemented. User class implements observer. User has a name, email. I mean, this is fine. It's kind of optional. And then here it is. This is the subject interface, right? So this is subject interface, register observer, remove observer, notify observer. Yeah. And then library item or library item with observer implements subjects. Okay, manage. Oh, so it doesn't want us to, worry about whether it's observable or not. That can be done at the runtime. So let's do it. I'll create another interface, which is book subject. Book subject. Um, it's gonna have all those methods, which is public void show register interest, something like that. Register interest, and it's gonna take a user, right? Second is unregistered interest. Same user. Probably we won't need to pass the user, but anyway, public void notify interest, right? And also the user. So this is our, that's fine. This is our book subject, and library item, or actually we can do library item decorator, right? Because we are not directly using library item, but I mean that will mean that we will have to add the decorator for every item, which might not be the case, right? So ideally we should do it on library item. Implements borrowable, uh, implements book subject. I don't know how we do multiple like these things. I've never done it. Library item implements borrowable, implements book subject. Yeah, probably that's not how it works, but let's see. Hmm. Java class implement to multiple interfaces. So how does that code look like? Uh, Implements. Okay, so just a comma and then the second one. All right, so it implements book subject. And since it's an abstract class, it's not throwing any error. The actual classes should, I mean, implement it. That's why it's throwing that error here. But since it's a common logic for all the all library items, we can implement that here. So let's see, let's create a private uh, list of user interested users, and let me import this. All right, this is our interested users, and we'll also need to implement the register interest and unregistered interest, all those things. So it's public void register interest user. Let me just add everything. Unregister, and the third one also, which is notify. Let me quickly see what's the name. Notify interest, unregistered interest. Okay, register interest, unregistered interest, and notify interest. Register interest, unregistered interest, and notify interest. All right, now let's do the actual implementation. So whenever someone register, we'll add it to the interested user list, right? It's not a set, so probably the two users can be added, but yeah, we can worry about it later. Um, Interested users dot add, then interested user dot remove, and for notify, we'll just call interested users dot for each. Um, for each user, we'll call users dot update, and the message can be book. The the item you registered for is available to be borrowed, and probably we can pass more info around the item name or something like that, just fine. So that's about it. Let's make it public for now. All right, so registering, unregistering, notifying, and we have the user also, which is just printing out that message, right? That's good. Let's see what other requirement we have. All right, give me the, and we'll obviously enhance it. Here is our test code. So we create authors, we create two users. Okay, I'll add the constructor for that. We'll registering the user to the book, then calling borrow on that, and return on that. So whenever we call return, these guys should be notified. We haven't implemented the notify logic actually. So Yeah, let's go back to the user. User will have name and email. String name, string email, and both of them can be private, right? And we'll add a constructor for it. All right, that's cool. Getters and setters, get email, set email, get name, and we have the set name. Okay, so here also let's just use those instead of directly doing this dot set email, email, set name, name. All right. Getters are not used as of now, but we'll see. This is our implementation for user. Now we can let's add logic for when it should be notified, right? Obviously, this needs to be called from somewhere. So when the book is available again, we want to notify the users. And that is actually implemented in the books. So return item, if it's borrowed. So when the return is successful, post that we should be calling the notify method. So this dot notify interest. And this obviously won't take any user because we want to notify all the users. Yeah. Probably we can add another condition that you can only show interest when the book is not available, right? If it's already, we'll just take it. But yeah, that's fine. Book subject, it doesn't need user then. Same for library item, it doesn't need user. All right. Cool. I think that should do the job at least for first iteration. Let's go and add the test code and see what we get. Just some function naming difference. Register observer, register interest, register interest, and let's run it. All right. Borrowing book, borrowing successful, returning the book, return successful, but we don't see those prints. So let's see what's happening. We call return item because we only implemented it in the ebook. Let's add the same in the printed book also. Right. And notify interest users start update. It calls the update method for every user. And the update method should do the log. Book observer set email. Sorry. Update string message. Yeah, cool. Let's run it again. Cool. So this is the output. Here's the output. Correct. So yeah, this works. Cool. Let me see how much time. Yeah, I think 20 minutes is fine. I'll take my screen. and see you in the next one. Thanks for joining.